at 7:30. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Parks and Recreation Commission. So I'd like to call to order. Would there please be a roll call?
George? Genevieve? Ritu? Jamie? Mike Kelly?
Present.
Toby?
Present.
Bill?
Present.
Renee?
Present.
Miguel?
Present.
Dan? Molly's here. John? And Erica?
Do we have a quorum? I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Approval of minutes. At this time, we look to the public for input. I don't see anyone online and there's no one here. So we'll move on to report of council liaison. Erica?
Thank you. I gave each of you tonight a copy of the resolution for creating a park and recreation facility planning and implementation committee. The ask of the town council, so this is based on the fact that the park and rec facilities are going to need to find a new home. And so the plan is for a committee, which here it says shall consist of 7 voting members with no more being a bare majority, being from one single political party. 1 member shall also be a member of the Public Building Commission and bring experience in design and building of public facilities. 1 member shall be from the Park and Recreation Commission, who will bring an understanding and knowledge of the community's recreational needs. And 5 members shall be voting members of the community and must have experience in planning, building, architecture, design, and recreation. So the reason I bring it to you tonight is because of the need for 1 member from the Park and Rec Commission to join the committee to help work to make the decisions for the future of the park and recreation facilities. So I'm hoping, knowing what the committee will do, it's listed, 1 and 2, 1 through 6. Some of the work they'll do is to identify the needs of the South Windsor Parks and Recreation Department, the recreational needs of the South Windsor community, identify and vet locations for the South Windsor Parks and Recreation Department based on the following criteria: meeting department program needs, space for growth and meeting the needs of the community today and tomorrow, accessibility to all residents, cost effectiveness. 3, they'll propose the chosen solution to the town council for a referendum. 4, educate and advocate for the proposed facility solution and for resources to implement the plan. 5, lead the building and implementation of the plan if it is approved. And 6, the committee shall be absolved at the completion of the proposed project or the failure of a referendum to allocate resources for a proposed project. So with the knowledge and experience of the commission, the hope is that you would be a valuable asset, someone would be a valuable asset to helping make these decisions. That person would also be a great liaison between the commission and the committee to bring information both ways. Because the high school, due to our growing population, our growing student population, the high school will need to reclaim Wapping building for their student population. So Park and Rec, which has been housed there since 2017, this is to find them a nice new home that really fits the needs of the community and the Park and Rec facility.
Okay.
Erica, is there a time frame that you need the member identified?
So the hope was to have the members for this committee for our meeting
Talk to the speaker.
on Tuesday, because Martin Luther King Day, on Tuesday, January 18th, because the Board of Ed plans to reclaim the building for full use in July 1 of 2023. So that is a year and a half, less than a year and a half from now. So the clock is ticking, and the hope is to get it started sooner rather than later. So if this group is able to come up with who they would like to represent the commission on the committee, I think it would be in the best interest to add to your agenda a motion to approve that person to be nominated or forwarded to the council.
I'm not sure we'll be able to go that quickly unless we do, the best choice for that of the longest standing member is probably George, and he's not here tonight. So I'd like to have a conversation with him. If the members approve, I'd like to have a conversation with him and see if he's willing to do that. So we can do an if then that is we could possibly suspend the meeting, have a motion for George to be nominated for it, and if he accepts, I can inform the board of that. Other than that, I don't think we want to be overrushed. We want the right person to represent it for the town's sake, because George has been here a long time. He knows the properties, and for myself or many of the other members, we just don't have that kind of history. What do the board say? What do your members think about that idea?
Well, would it be appropriate to vote on George conditionally so that we don't have to take
Well,
that
yeah,
step?
sure.
And then
If we're open to
George,
that idea.
Cover that all now and then give the name to Erica?
We would need to suspend this meeting right now and then open up the motion for that, to do that.
Okay,
So I'm
sure.
just kind of doing getting
Got
a
it.
water level test of how you feel. So, a motion to suspend the meeting so we can take care of this business?
Motion to suspend?
Second it?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 We are suspended. Am I allowed to make a motion? I'd like to make a motion that we nominate George to represent us on this committee.
Second?
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, so I will give George a call tomorrow and talk to him about that. Is there a way to get an electronic copy of this so I can send him a copy?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can also email it to you.
I
either
can
way.
scan, send it to George.
Perfect, thank you.
Great, thanks.
Toby, do we want to consider another individual in case George says that he just doesn't have the time?
Yes, in fact, I would like to nominate Mike Kelly if George is not willing. Thanks for asking, Mike. Bill,
Mike, I'd like to second that, Mike.
you guys okay with that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye is
Aye.
Mike as a second choice.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bill.
George or Mike.
Have a neat-
Thank you all for making that happen tonight. I really do appreciate it, because we want to make sure that Park and Rec has a future and permanent home, so thank you.
So let's give Erica a little time frame. When will we get back to her tomorrow, or will we get back to her in a few days? George, I'm pretty sure George is, if you can reach him, he'll give you an answer right there.
Right. I'm just, my own capability, I'm okay making some calls and talking to people, but my time frame, my bandwidth to email somebody and say, I had this conversation, so I'm more likely to call somebody up and say, hey, I had this conversation, we're good to go, I'll send you electronically later on. I think I have your number, Erica. So I could contact you and let you know, or if worse comes to worse, I'll contact Molly and she'll shoot a note over to somebody and
I know I have your number, so if for some reason I don't hear from you in the next couple days, I'll reach out.
sure. I will give it to you. I'd rather not be published all over the place, so I'll
Do
give
you
it
want
to
to
you
announce it
separately.
publicly? Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Is there anything, I guess we need to go back to the meeting now, so I'll call the meeting back to order. Okay, do you have anything else from the council to report?
I have nothing else to report unless anyone had any questions of me.
Well, I have a question. My question is, I mean, right now we get this like, hurry, 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 get this done, but this is not new. I mean, gosh, it's been in the works for almost 2 years. Why are we just starting now to form this committee? It seems like it's being represented like we're being kicked out with no warning, and that's not fair to the public, and it's not the case. So how come now it's so hurry, hurry? I mean, we need to hurry now.
So we all know, I think we're all well aware of the good problem of our growing student population because of our excellent schools in town. So this has been kind of an unknown and an unexpected, based on my previous role on the Board of Ed, that it was not expected based on the predictions that the population increase for students would carry through to the high school. The projections had kept it at the elementary level, and they are finding that is not the case, and the population is continuing to grow and expand through the high school. So in looking at that information, the superintendent this fall had let the town manager know that they would need to use Wapping space, the Wapping school, for the growing high school population.
Okay.
So as soon as she was aware, they've had this conversation and put this together with a 1.5 years notice to try to get something planned in enough time.
We appreciate the council's decision to form the committee and the cooperation of the town manager, and so that's good. We likewise, we want to be forgetful and rush too much from pressure's sake. So I was just pushing back a little bit, so my apologies there. Okay, report from the Board of Ed Liaison. I don't see the Board of Ed here, but I can offer something up. Toby Lewis, Chair, I met with Dr. Carter last week, and I talked to her, and she reiterated some of what you said and I meant to bring all the stats she gave me, but the escalation of the population of the student body is enormous. But she also told me that town people were aware of this a couple of years ago. In fact, it was even part of the questioning for new directors is what would you do without Wapping? So I feel it was put on us kind of all of a sudden when the prep for this should have happened a while ago, which I already mentioned. I won't belabor that point. Dr. Carter seemed cooperative. She said that she offered up Orchard Hill, and I hear that the problem with Orchard Hill is the ADA wouldn't let us do that, but the same thing we did with Wapping we can do with Orchard Hill was perhaps, as the committee will research, is use part of Wapping for a season while not having to comply with ADA because it's the Board of Ed's building still, so we don't have to, so it's still for education purposes. So those are things that can be discussed and worked out, and she said she was a cheerleader for Parks and Rec and was hoping that the relations between the two departments can continue to expand and grow, and that she's glad that I took the time to go meet with her. She explained to me that she in no wise wants to abandon the Parks and Rec and had no intention. She said when they made this decision it was serious and tough, and they had first considered options on our behalf before they made a decision. But the fact of the matter is they've got to do something. And short of building a $40 million wing on the high school, of which there's not the property stamp to do anyway. She wanted us to know that she'll partner with us in our looking for a solution. And so I thought it was genuine and nice, and that was her report to me. And I guess that's as our Board of Ed report. Any reports from special reports and tasks? Okay. George? Report of Open Task Force? Okay. Does anyone aware of what George's been doing or the Open, John?
Our meeting was canceled last month.
Okay. It's all on you, Molly.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so current conditions, as you are all aware, we have a mask mandate in the town starting this past Sunday on January 9th. So that goes for all of our businesses and buildings. We've been doing that as a town for probably about a month prior. So within our building, we've just been requiring masks, which we have actually really been doing all year. So there's really no change in operation there. In terms of our childcare, we actually have changed our 4th R protocols, but not our preschool protocols. So we were, we were doing quarantines along with contact tracing for everything. And in 4th R, it was causing some problems along with the Board of Ed because we were doing contact tracing in quarantine times, and the Board of Ed was doing the screen and stay. So there was some, differences in policies there. After discussion at the start of the new year, we decided to follow the Board of Ed's policy to provide consistency for the families. So now we are no longer contact tracing, and we are keeping the same thing. If your child has no symptoms, they can stay at school and they can go to the after-school program. That, however, does not go into our other enrichment programs because we are not in the Board of Ed buildings per se. We are, in our preschool program, or we're out at basketball, or we're doing arts and crafts. So if a child is in close contact, then we are asking them to, go get tested, quarantine, all that other stuff. So, we're kind of dealing with an uptick in cases among our part-time staff as well as our youth. We're just maintaining what we can and just managing through it all. Everyone's seeing an increase in cases, so it's not abnormal at this time. In terms of sports, we're still doing everything we can to run our sports leagues. We have not put any protocols in place for spectators. We're just asking families to be mindful of the gym space, not overcrowding if possible. So that's pretty much where we're at with that, and we're really following the DPH and CIAC guidance in terms of you're wearing a mask at all times, unless it was hazardous for the sport, which we do not offer any sports where mask wearing is hazardous. The big thing with that is if they are in close contact but vaccinated and symptom-free, they can stay in the sport. If they're not vaccinated, they must provide a negative test to return, and if they test positive, they quarantine for 5 days but can return on day 6 if they're symptom-free. However, they can't they can't be within 6 feet of other people if they have to take off their mask at any time. So that's really just the pieces with athletics. So we're able to run our basketball program, which is obviously our largest program going on right now. In terms of basketball, we started about a month ago now, a little over a month. We're doing pretty well with it. We have Matt, who's our basketball coordinator. So he's been going around to all the sites on the weekends, making sure that our parents are doing well, our coaches are happy, and our youth are being safe, along with our adult league with basketball. So we have no really updates for that, other than that it's been successful so far, the kids that are choosing to play. I will say our numbers are a little bit lower this year, which was expected. However, we wanted to ensure that we could offer the sport, no matter what. In terms of master plan, so for CIP this upcoming year, they have allotted us preliminarily $200,000 for master plan projects. However, I brought up to Toby a few weeks ago, they would like Toby to come to our next capital projects meeting to kind of talk about how we will utilize our master plan in terms of funding for the upcoming fiscal year. So we had talked about how we needed lights at Rye Street, and that's kind of where we're at right now currently, or we're not going to be able to offer our night leagues. And that's obviously a necessity to our bottom line and for our community. So that's going to take up a good chunk of our money, if not all of it. But it is in the master plan. So we'll be able to present that at the next CIP meeting.
That's 22nd, I think, right? 22nd?
19th, next Wednesday.
Okay.
Yep. And then in terms, John will end up giving you guys an update on pickleball and deck hockey in a few minutes. In terms of our other programs, I mean, we've been doing awesome. We did a lot in the month of December. We did the Deck the Rec, Holiday Hello, Merry and Bright. Monday Night Social Club also had a holiday party. So we've kept the community busy throughout the month just to kind of be able to bring them together through a various amount of activities. We also did Letters to Santa, which has been a big program over the past 3 years, I believe, that we've been doing it. This is the second highest year, and we had 511 youth that were given letters this year. In terms of all of our other programs, we've gone hybrid for some of our wellness programs due to the mask mandate and people feeling comfortable. But besides that, I mean, I think we're doing a really fantastic job right now maintaining our programs and kind of trying to figure out ways to enhance them for our community. We started offering night pickleball in our gym to kind of bring more opportunities for pickleball to be played in the community. We have about 25 individuals that come 3 times a week. And we had our resolution run on January 9th, which was, this is our 3rd annual one with the Hartford Marathon Foundation and CT Valley Brewing. We were expected to have about 550 runners, but due to the weather, we had 453. Still an okay amount that came out. Everyone enjoyed it. We did the whole event outside, so they had their chili and beer after the run right outside. But everyone was having a good time. The music was playing, so it was another awesome event that we did for the community. Yeah, and we're kind of just ramping up for the springtime. We got the brochure that we're working on currently that will go out to mail, which will be the first time that we've been able to do that since the pandemic started. So, yeah.
Any questions for Molly? Thank you.
Yeah, and I actually have one more piece to add. We hired a new staff to replace our athletics recreation supervisor, Ashley. So we have hired Kyle Andalina, and he is going to oversee, again, all of our athletic programs. And he started early January, so the first week. So we're really excited. I can bring him to the next commission meeting for everyone to meet him.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then I'll have John give a little bit of an update.
Good evening. A quick update on Rye Street Park. We've done some additional site work over there with some of the stumps and tree removal. We did receive, at the last storm, we had an awful lot of damage at Rye Street, and one of the things was some of the trees had fallen that we weren't planning on falling, so we've removed some of those. We've made the site a little bit larger, actually, and we have also talked with Aero Crane because one of the bigger problems that we faced was there's a large lacrosse wall in the middle of where pickleball and deck hockey is going to go, and the wall weighs approximately 100 tons. So Aero Crane is going to donate their services, and it's extremely generous of them to do. We're going to move the wall approximately 126 feet, and that's actually 2 lifts for the crane, and we will work in conjunction with them to get that wall moved so lacrosse will still have their wall. And we are working with a vendor right now that possibly could be on a state or federal bid that would be able to complete almost all the work at Rye Street. So we would deal with basically one vendor except for a couple things, and that the Parks Department themselves would do, which is basic site work, and then possibly a couple other things around the site. We continue to work in the mountain bike trails at Rye Street Park that sustained just an absolute ton of damage from tree falling, and the crew keeps working on that. And we have switched over to what we call winter mode, and as you know, we've had some snow and some ice. So the Parks Department, along with Public Works, we work side by side in clearing the roads and all the parking lots. The report came back for VMP. VMP at this time is stable. They don't really see any real serious issues. It has settled over the years, and the reason it's settled is basically because it's built on a wet area, and those wet areas in the soils below are moving and shifting slightly, but the recommendation is to continue to monitor it and go from there. So that's some good news for that. We have closed all the trails for the winter. We basically label them as, not maintained, and please, don't use the trails if you don't have to, but it really doesn't stop a lot of people. We have actually groomed them for one side for walking. When the snow gets super deep, we'll take a machine through there because sometimes people just need to be outside, and it's a good thing. The parks crew is actually down to 10 people right now. We're short 2. We did hire Mark Hilton just recently. He is actually a transfer from street services over to our department. He's been with the town, I'm going to guess, about 17 years now. And we do have 2 openings, and we will be testing for those tomorrow night. And I think that is about it.
Hey, John, 2 questions. On the trails, what do we do in the town as far as giving warning to people that it's maybe not safe? Is there any signs or?
We have signs at the entrances and exits at all the trails that say that they are not maintained for winter, trails closed. Like I said, we've had some winters where I think people are just trapped inside too long and they need to get out, and we've gone through the trails with the Bobcat and the snow blower, and we've cleared half of it because cross-country skiers like to use another half. So we will kind of share the trail with them, but it's still signed as not maintained.
And second question, what happens with the skate park in the winter? Do you clear that, or is that closed? The skate park?
The skate park is closed, but if there's no snow on it, the kids are going to use it. Or I shouldn't say the kids, the people will use it. It's not just kids.
John, a question, outdoor ice skating, is it an option available?
Yes, it is. We actually monitored the ice at Rye Street Park yesterday. It's about 3.5 inches. We were surprised we didn't have to shovel the snow off of it. We do have some warmer weather, but it's going to be cold again, so we're going to continue to monitor it. And when it gets to 4 inches, that's usually when we can open it up. We have standards that we have to follow, so I think hopefully if it stays cold by the weekend, we should be okay to go.
And how does that operate? Is there a time it opens, a time you close it?
No, whenever you want to skate.
Whenever you want to skate, okay.
We are hoping that next year, once our deck hockey space is done, we are going to be hopefully flooding it and turning it into an outdoor rink. That's what the hope is through our athletics supervisor will be overseeing that portion. So we'll be doing some winter programming with that.
We've been on this committee for many years, but it was just like 3-4 years ago, we had no place to sled and no place to skate, and now we've added both of those. So the winter has become a little bit more enjoyable to stay here than go elsewhere. So that's great news.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we need a curling place.
Curling or
Okay.
whatever.
There is one more thing. We did just start work on the John J. Mitchell sign for the Fairgrounds at Rye Street. We started that actually last week. We're working with Gary Schacht in the sign department, Mike Hanrahan, and it's going to basically follow. It's going to be a similar sign as to the new style signs that we did for Deming Street Gardens. So it's very nice. I actually talked to Billy today to try and find out what John's favorite color was, and luckily it's green, so that's going to work out just fine for us.
Any questions for John? Is there any other business?
I can report from George Kay from his couch, wherever he is. He said he would accept your nomination if.
Oh, thank you.
So
I would have
you wanna
contacted him too,
confirm
but I
that?
don't bring in my phone, yeah.
But I did text while you were talking. He said yes, so
Oh, good.
whatever the process is from there.
All right, so Eric, I'll call you and let you know.
Okay.
Oh, good, thanks. So I guess I'm waiting for a motion to, what do they call it, adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion is adjourned.
Stephanie, you went